1 million. Since Joe Biden took office, 1 million illegal immigrants have been released within the border of the United States of America. That is twice the population of Wyoming. John Daniel Davidson, he's a senior editor with the Federalist, great magazine. He just released a 2-part series where he interviewed people on the border. You see, I've been down to the border. I ran for Congress twice down in a border district, so I spent a lot of time down there talking to these people. They told me stories about having to use the buddy system to go get the mail with weapons. So I want to talk to John, because unless you're down there, you don't know. You don't know. John, first, illegal immigration, the black market. How does an illegal immigrant from Guatemala, let's just say, how do they pay the thousands of dollars it takes to have the coyotes haul them up into America? This person doesn't have a toy on the ground. They have thousands of dollars?
Most of them don't. And there's one of two ways that they do it. They either sell everything that they have, their home, if they have a small farm, any possessions they have, and sort of go all in with everything just to get up to the border, or they go into debt from loan sharks back home. Or I guess there's a third way. They get part of the way there and run out of money, and then their family goes into debt to loan sharks back home. And these loan sharks are not, it's not Easy Pawn or something like we have here. These are bad people. And so a lot of these folks are in debt for tens of thousands of dollars that they can't start paying off until they get into the United States and start working. That's the whole premise of their plan, is that they're going to be able to get in so they can pay off this debt. And until they do, a lot of times their families are in danger.
Good grief. Okay, what's a fix for something like that, John? And why would you risk that? I understand everyone wants to come to America, and I do get that it's really, really terrible in a lot of these Central American countries where most of these people are coming from now. But if I've got, a wife and kids back home and some loan shark in El Salvador might chop their hands off, why even risk it?
Well, one reason you would risk it is if that a whole bunch of people that you knew and a whole bunch of family members had done the same thing and had gotten into America and were like sending you Facebook messages from their job where they were making 10 times what you were making now. And if you knew dozens or hundreds of people that had done that, you might think, no, it's a pretty good chance I'll get in too. And that's exactly what's happening. Kamala Harris can go to Guatemala and shake her head and say, don't come. But who are you going to believe? Kamala Harris or like all your cousins and neighbors and friends from your hometown who got in and are sending money home? And that's the dynamic here. It doesn't matter what the administration says. It matters what their policies actually do. And what they actually do is allow people to get into the country and get released inside the United States.
John, the shelters, these migrant shelters, what's it like?
They're pretty horrible. I'm not going to lie. We went to shelters in Matamoros, which is across the river from Brownsville, Texas, and in Reynosa, which is across the river from McAllen, Texas. Very dangerous border towns. And the shelters are in bad parts of town, as you can imagine. They don't put migrant shelters in the nice parts of town. And a lot of the people who are staying there are Haitians who are afraid to cross the border illegally because they don't want to be deported to Haiti. And the reason they don't want to be deported to Haiti is because they haven't lived there in years and years. Some of them are for a decade. They came to northern Mexico from South America, where most of them have been living for quite some time. They had legal status. So some of them had asylum status. Some of them had citizenship in these countries in South America. But they heard that they could get into the United States and make even more money and have a better life. And so they came north. And the last thing they want after last fall, when all those Haitians in the Del Rio encampment were deported to Haiti, sort of word went out in the Haitian community. There's a risk if you cross illegally and you'll get deported to Haiti. And so they're waiting for something to change. And so the majority of the migrants you see in these shelters are Haitians.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.